Ash, I think, but when you say submit, Ash, you keep talking in like duality, but it's not supposed to be duality. It's supposed to be the man is the head, the wife, and then the kids, all under Christ, right? So there is when you go to a job interview, you if you're going for that job, the job has the upper hand. You're in the position of asking to be in that role or work for that company. Just as a wife is the man has the upper hand because a man controls marriage. So if you want to be married and you desire a man, whatever he requires is what you would have to get in line with in order to be in that relationship. But overall, yeah, men might have little different nuances. Overall, men are going to require the same thing and they desire the same things from women. They might have different little nuances, but overall, it's the same thing. Just as women would like security, protection, they want to be talked to in a certain way. All women may want different things from men, they may want different freedoms from men, but it's pretty much the same. And the same on the men's side. They desire a woman to be agreeable, easy to work with, understanding, submit, warm, kind. Those attributes are pretty much the same. They don't change from men to men, from man to man. They really don't. And I think we keep having the conversations. I know a couple shows ago they were talking about, oh, are y'all old or we young or all of this separation. Men and women are we're all human. So there's always going to be a solid ground of human desires, especially when it comes to relationships, whether that's marriage or whether that's family or friendships. The same thing that my mother wanted from her sisters and brothers 45, 50 years ago are the exact same things that I want from my brothers right now and my sister-in-laws that I want in those relationships. Respect, to be remembered, to be included. Like all these basic human wants and needs within how relationships work. So I think that we make things a lot more difficult than it's supposed to be because as women, I think we don't want to be in alignment with men. But that's what is required if especially if you're going to include biblical terms and biblical sense in religion or even not religion. If you want things to work in a certain way, there has to be hierarchy. There's hierarchy in education, there's hierarchy in grade school, there's hierarchy in colleges and universities. There's always hierarchy. There's a principal, there's assistant principal, there's admin, then the teachers. The students are at the bottom. You cannot be a student or you cannot be a teacher thinking that you're in the seat of a principal. You're not run. We're as women, we're not supposed to run things. We're not supposed to be running our family. We're supposed to be under the covering of our husband with our children within a family. And if we understand that mentally, things will run so much smoother. They really would.
Yeah, I understand that. But before a man becomes your husband, you still need to see what you are submitting to, right? This is my whole thing. What I'm saying is all of us probably have dated, being, a teenager and young adults. And it was some people that we just did not mesh with. That's what I'm saying. Just because a man may be a man of God, right? Or come to you and he may be a good man, that does not mean that that is your husband. That doesn't, it doesn't mean that the first man that comes to you and he may look good on paper is for you, and that doesn't require you to just submit to that. That's what I'm saying. If it does not flow, it does not flow. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that when
but that's what Aisha was talking about when it comes to core values. Being raised, when you're raised to be a wife and you understand what your parents put into you as far as what you need to be looking out for. You don't need to be 30, 35, 40 years old to understand what values are supposed to be important to you in a mate. And the same comes vice versa for a man. We are supposed to understand that as a young age. And you know why we understand that? To me, the first thing that comes to mind in high school, you are able to start picking your colleges and you're also able to pick your what you want to go into and study for your career for the rest of your life. Why do y'all think we do that at 17, 18 years old? Because society has said at that point, we should have enough cognitive skills to be able to understand what's inside of us, what speaks to us, and what are our needs that we would like to function as an adult down the line. Whether that's, oh, I'm going to make the decision as an 18-year-old to go into undergrad studies of biology because I want to be a doctor in 12 years. We're able to make those decisions. So at 18, 19, 20, 21, you should be, as a man or a woman, understand what qualities you should be looking out for and dating with a purpose of marriage. And when you are running into people, you should be able to understand at that point, just as you're picking lifelong career decisions, you're making those lifelong career decisions, you should be able to make lifelong mate decisions at that point as well.
But
I think where y'all disconnecting at is I think y'all speaking the same language, the same direction. Y'all not really able to thoroughly challenge each other because it seems like that's what y'all trying to do. The reason why y'all are not is because I think we're being disingenuous to the fact that as if men and women are operating as if we're figuring out whether or not we want to submit or whether anybody has a purpose to align to at the vetting stage when we haven't already slept with them, when we haven't already had a kid with them, we haven't already been married with them for 10 years and got a divorce. I think we're being disingenuous by just talking to the part where we're saying hello, when we know we're going way further into the relationship that and figuring out that we're not even ready to align with the purpose or even submit. So I think the issue is at what point during the journey with one another in the relationship are you actually discovering whether or not you don't want to no longer or initially align with their purpose and actually submit, because that's the actual issue. And some women, some men be on a representative, but it still don't void out the problem. The issue is that we're getting together for years, longer than that, maybe shorter. But at what point do you figure out, I don't align with his purpose, I don't want to submit? I think that's the question that needs to be answered, because there's kids that's already happened. You done busted out backside, front side, guac 3000, all that stuff. And now I don't want to submit. I don't align with his purpose. So let's speak to that point in their interaction.
I think it's not black. I don't think it's black and white, right? Because we're all human beings. Everybody had their own story. It's a marathon, not a race, right? Everybody has their own way that they learn and process things, and everybody has their own timing of doing things, right? Just because you might have got married, I don't know how old you got married, but I got married very young, 19. You get what I'm saying? And now, and I'll be 34 this year. So it's different for me now that I'm in my 30s dating than when I was 19. My mindset is not the same. What I want in a partner is not the same because I'm not a teenager anymore. I have more experience and things that I need. Now, this is not just to you, Darwin, but this is also just to put in some of what Kasey said or whatever. My mindset isn't a thing and isn't the same way. Even when I went to college, I went to school to be a medical assistant. I did that, graduated, I worked in the field, wound up realizing that wasn't for me. I knew I wanted to help people. I went back to school to be do lawyer. Wasn't for me either. Now what am I doing? I'm in public safety. So the idea of who you want to be and what you like is there, but you don't fully know the full scope because you really don't have the experience yet. So as you age, you
aged out. You aged yourself out of submission to your husband.
No,
your experience was so impactful that it caused you to resent your position under your husband to the point where you developed a mindset change to where you figured you was no longer suitable for that position under your husband. That's basically what you're saying, right?
That's not what I said. I don't resent anything. There's resentment isn't in my body. So I wouldn't use the word resent.
What word would you use other than resentment?
We just realized that we're not for each other because there was a lot of things going on in our marriage. For one, that was not good. If children are growing up in a 2-parent household, but there's still things in it that's not showcasing a household of love, right? It's just as bad as being with a single parent raising the kids by themselves. But if you're single, right, and you can co-parent and it's a better environment for your children, that is what it's going to be. For me, God is the only one that can judge me. So if I feel like in my body, in my spirit, that is not a healthy thing for me to be with somebody who is not good for me, right, I'm going to remove myself. My health I come before, right? My health. If I'm not in a good mental space and I'm not physically and mentally healthy, I cannot provide and take care of my children the best way that I should. So I'm going to remove myself. And if it's the same way for him, we need to remove ourselves. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that you guys are, well, I'm not gonna say you guys, I don't think that you are being honest or really kind of taking yourself out of your own shoes and kind of taking a step back and looking at reality.